We bring you the special episode of Inside, where we're discussing a very, very significant issue that's coming out from the state of Tamil Nadu. 3 IPS officers who've brought out a video where they've highlighted all that's wrong with attitudes of the men in Tamil Nadu, particularly the lack of sensitivity towards gender issues. Misogyny, they say, is writ large, particularly in the state of Tamil Nadu. Take a listen into the video that these IPS officers have released.
நம்மளோட பாரத நாட்டுக்கே பார்த்தீங்கன்னா பாரத மாதா அப்படின்னு நம்ம பேர் வச்சிருக்கோம். நம்ம நாட்டில் உள்ள நதிகளுக்கு எல்லாம் கூட பெண்களோட பெயரில் வச்சிருக்கோம். அந்த மாதிரி பெண்களை போற்றி பெருமையாக பார்க்குற நாடு நம்ம நாடு. இந்த பெண்களுக்கான விடுதலைக்காகவும் சுதந்திரத்துக்காகவும் போராடின எத்தனையோ பெரியவர்கள் இந்த நாட்டில் இருக்காங்க. ஆனால் இன்னைக்கு கூட பார்த்தீங்கன்னா பெரியார் அவர்கள் சொன்னது மாதிரி
It is an undisputed fact that the films, music, TV programs, advertisements, lyrics, dialogues have a very major, profound impact on our mind, on our spirit, on our behavior, which can both be positive as well as negative. The recent increase in the crime against women and the girls, as well as the recent increase in the indecent behavior, can to a very large extent be attributed to the exposure which the young minds have to these objectionable movies.
Film, lyrics and dialogues, they have the greatest devastating impact on the minds, young minds of people today. Movies are the greatest influence in today's context, and sadly it has become a major factor for the rise in many crimes against women. Movie dialogues and lyrics, be it positive or negative, they mold the thoughts, the perceptions, the attitudes of youngsters particularly.
A very, very significant issue that has been raised there by those women IPS officers in Tamil Nadu. And to talk about this particular issue, I'm joined by Sanjjanaa, who joins us from Bengaluru. She's, of course, an actor. Varija Bajaj is here in our studio. She's a fashion designer, as also is Lata, Srinivasan, film critic, who joins us from Chennai. I'll begin with you, Sanjjanaa. Isn't it a very significant issue that has been raised by these officers? Can the film industry, in the garb of entertainment, ignore their social responsibilities? Sanjjanaa.
Industry is ignoring their social responsibility. The same actors who are dancing in front of the camera are the people who are involved in a very high level of charity with various firms. We are involved with many of the animal associations for animal protection, not just that, to so many charitable foundations, so many educative foundations.
What about on screen?
The same actors who are acting in front of the camera and are dancing in these same similar songs.
What about on screen, Sanjjanaa?
Maybe the lyrics have gone a bit here or there, haywire, but there is a censor board which is legally responsible before they sanction such songs, and they allow the visuals of these songs to come on the screen, which affect not just the youngsters but even kids from various schools, even adults who are 60, 65, 70-year-old. So even before it comes on the television, there's a very mature decision of an entire firm, a censor board taken before it comes on the screen. So I think if the cops are correlating the safety of women or the behavior of the youngsters into films, I think that is just being very hypocrite, and the law needs to be more stronger to fight back against
let's get in another view.
I don't think a criminal would have seen a crime in a film and would have gone and murdered somebody for...
Well, this is the state. Let me remind you, Sanjjanaa, where not so long ago, just in June last year, an Infosys techie, Swati, lost her life. She was being stalked and was murdered in broad daylight at a railway station there. This is the same state that we're talking about, the same city that we're talking about. Lata Srinivasan, film critic, joins us at this point in time. Lata, what is very significant is that, it is very easy for film industry to say that this is what we do off screen. Doesn't social responsibility entail, trying to temper, attitudes and emotions that come out from what is there on screen? Haven't the comics, perhaps in Tamil cinema, gone a bit too far in their misogyny in the past as well? Lata.
Yes, I do agree. I do agree, Madhav, that, filmmakers need to be more socially responsible. But then again, I also believe that what you see on screen is an imitation of society. Misogyny and sexism is deeply ingrained in our society. It is not something that came about because of movies. It was already in existence for centuries. Women are treated as second-grade citizens. And except for the fact that, you're right, while films are entertaining, they also have crossed the line where women have been, degraded to such an extent that today you have IPS officers talking about films and their impact on the youngsters of today, saying, please stop this. And I think that's a very unfortunate situation if we have to, if we have come to this.
Well, where does the change begin, Varija Bajaj? If this is the ground reality, that doesn't mean that everything is right. Just because there is misogyny in society, should we be promoting stalking? Should we be promoting violence? And this kind of very bawdy sort of below the belt, double entendre sort of comedy that we see, it's just perpetuating these attitudes in society which we need to change.
It is a catch-22 situation wherein films, they reflect a society as a whole, because the inspiration does come in from the society. But at the same time, society also reflects a lot what is shown in the films. So let's look at a film like Tare Zameen Pe, which of course made a very big impact. It was showing about a dyslexic child who existed. Exactly. Okay, nobody knew the meaning of dyslexia. Right. And it did educate a lot of people, and it did make a lot of impression in a lot of lives. Right. Similarly, when we talk about clothes, even as fashion designers, whatever that is being worn on the screen is aped by masses all across. And that's not just in India, that's abroad, even stands true for Hollywood. So I think it does, to a very great extent, levy a lot of social responsibility on the artists. And if they really want to go overboard with what they really want to, stick to private showing. Private screening is allowed. You can show that in the groups that you think are very responsible and are able to carry that sort of a message, but maybe not overall. The society is still ready what you're showing.
Ranjana Kumari is also with us. Ranjana Kumari, an important issue that has been raised. Of course, in past, cinema has addressed social issues. But isn't it that sort of progressive thought that needs to be engendered even when it comes to the sensitive issue of gender? Clearly, what these IPS officers are raising is something that is a prevalent problem there in the state of Tamil Nadu. Obviously, they're not speaking in thin air. There has to be some kind of a reason that 3 IPS officers, female officers, come out and speak in the open about this issue, Ranjana.
When you have songs where you really sing that, molest them, follow them, sexually harass them, then they will come around and really respond to your love, that you are trying to convey. And when you have, cheese badi hai, mast mast, all those kinds of vulgar, sexualizing women, objectifying women, I don't think that reflects society. I do agree that cinema is or art is some kind of a reflection of society. And also it's two-way process, because then the messaging also reinforces the same kind of, the kind of life that the women are condemned to live in this country. So I would think that this is not something which really our society is looking forward to, or young people are looking forward to. This is not cool anymore, that you really present a woman almost in the most vulgar form that is possible. And you cross all the limits when you are writing the dialogues, the double meaning dialogues, cheapest possible way of expressing anything about love and your relationship with the woman. I don't think even the young men are expecting that in India. So please, from Manthan to Pink, let me just complete. Please let me complete.
Sanjjanaa, I'll give you a chance to respond to that. Let Ranjana finish first, then we'll come to you.
No, you are not talking about Manthan to Pink. Can I just Yeah, I don't think we are talking about adult film. If adult film you want to see, okay, you have whole pornographic, film pornography is available on your, telephone. So you can, mobile phone, you can watch it as many hours as you want to. If your sensitivity and sensibilities are so low, and there is so much of bankruptcy of ideas in the film writers and
so it's not
songwriters
intolerable
and lyric writers.
vulgarity here when it comes to the songs that you're telling.
It's not about vulgarity. It's not about vulgarity. It's about treating women as objects.
I just heard a song. No, it's not about vulgarity, but do you want to present women in that light?
Definitely not vulgar, where a woman is getting objectified to get cornered and which influences people in a bad light.
No, it is vulgar. It is cheese. Women is not cheese. Women is not an object. Women is not an object.
You see school kids performing on Cheese Badi Hai Mast Mast. It's a super hit song. It's a commercial song and it's played on a universal television.
It's not cool at all.
Universal television mein aata hai ye gana. So I think this is way too hypocrite to be talking like this.
Porn earns more money than the normal cinema does. So do you want to become porn? No, you don't want to become porn. Porn earns more money than normal cinema does.
We are not talking about porn here. We are talking about two Cheese Badi Hai Mast Mast being extremely vulgar according to you.
I'd like to take on.
No. Yes, but you are, look. Let me tell you a Tamil song. When you said that, you should have your lust for her, you should kick her, you should, molest her, you should pull her hair.
Absolutely.
It's in the song.
Absolutely
it's
shocking.
A song like that. Do you think you will accept that?
That I am not talking about.
Honor killing.
Honor killing.
Don't say,
right now.
Sanjjanaa,
I refer to this particular song where you told two Cheese Badi Hai Mast Mast is extremely vulgar, intolerable and is objectifying women. I think this is just being too hypocrite and pushing things too far. It's just an entertaining song.
Yes.
And if a guy has to objectify a woman in real life, I think it's a lot to do with his mental state and with the way he's been brought up in his house.
No, but you're conditioning that state, Sanjjanaa. The question is this. It is these films which are trying to condition these men. The whole question, Sanjjanaa, is this, that you are just talking about a state where films regularly show or depict stalking of women. We've seen it result in acid attacks, murders, honor killings on ground. So clearly, of course, the attitudes of people are being shaped by cinema. How can you ignore that reality, Sanjjanaa?
Come again?
My question, Sanjjanaa, is very clear that, you're talking about a state where the films very clearly have depicted stalking. And on ground, it's that same stalking that's happening. It's led to murders, acid attacks, honor killings on ground. How can the film industry completely shun its responsibility? Clearly, people are imitating what's happening on screen.
See, what I'm trying to tell you is these same films have been telecasted in even Saudi Arabia. These same Bollywood films or Tamil films or Telugu films are even telecasted in Singapore, where the law and order is extremely strong and people are afraid to death to break the law. So these same films are telecasted there. Why are these problems not happening over there in a Singapore or a Dubai or a Saudi Arabia?
That's no justification.
Why are women safe there and why are women not safe here? Whatever comes on TV or whatever comes on screen is given a universal certificate and it comes on TV. Not even an adult certificate thing comes on TV. So why is it happening only in India and why is the same thing when telecasted not happening in Singapore or in a Dubai or Saudi Arabia? There also there are women, there also there are men. There also for a fact they are Indians also. But the problem is here the law and order is weak and the blame game is very easy. It's happening because of actors, it's happening because of politicians, it's happening because of college students getting influenced by a song. It's just a clear blame game. Why don't people take self-responsibility that I will take charge that no crime happens against women in this road?
Why don't filmmakers take responsibility? The very same question can be asked to filmmakers. Why don't actors and directors take responsibility? How can you just put it on the common citizen? Why don't actors and directors first start taking responsibility before
we are taking responsibilities. I'm working on, we are taking, there are films like Mary Com which have been there. There are films like Queen which have been there. Why don't we talk about that where women have been empowered? There are films like Dangal. Why are you talking about that 5-10% of a just entertainment song which comes on TV, which is a universal certificate, and be so hypocrite about it? Why don't you talk now about Tare Zameen Par? Why don't you talk about Dangal?
If molesting
why don't you talk about a Pink?
If
Sanjjanaa,
molesting a woman is entertainment,
So Pink is
how will you
Pink is
convince
also
Indian society and
against
people
the
to go and
society. Dangal is
complain?
also against
How
the
will
society.
you
They were
really-
motivating
you know,
films. Give those
I
examples.
don't think
One at a time,
molesting
please. One
is
at a time, please.
entertainment.
Cinema.
I don't think throwing acid is entertainment. I don't think raping a woman is entertainment.
absolutely, absolutely. And
No,
on this
how
note,
do you call these things entertainment? That means you
So
are
what you
taking
also
the
show
Absolutely,
it
same
is absolutely
ideas,
not entertainment.
same
I'm not even
ideas that,
getting
you know,
there.
the
I'm
men
not
get
even getting to
entertained or
adult films
society
here.
gets
I'm talking
entertained
about
by
universal
getting a
films.
woman raped on screen. What are you talking?
I'm not talking about adult. I'm not talking about adult
No, I
content
don't
here.
think
Neither am I.
I'm talking
films
about
or adult films
universal
or
films
any
where I
films,
think whatever
any
comes
film
on
should
TV,
not
whichever
present
song
women
comes
in
on
this
TV,
kind of a vulgar,
like your example,
sexist,
your very own
misogynistic
example, "Tu
manner.
cheez badi hai mast mast" is entertainment and it should be taken in the right spirits. You cannot you cannot be a hypocrite and just
Madhav, can I
typecast
say
things like that
something?
where the extremely
Listen,
dignified
I think
actors
there are-
acting
there
who are
are
also
better- there
off
are-
camera
there are
involved
better
in so
lyric-
many
lyric
charitable
writers, there are better film
associations more
writers.
than any other
These
person.
are the failed people. These are the people who are frustrated because their films are not doing well. So they come up with worse and worse and worse things. You know, because these are the frustrated, failed people. They bankruptcy of ideas.
No, no,
That
I
is
think
why they come up
frustrated
with
people
things
and
that things
frustrated
which
people are
much
looking at
more
Sorry, I don't
entertainment
agree
as
with that.
wrong
Worse and worse they come up.
opportunists
Of course.
and are using
Of
a
course,
wrong
they
example
have
to
run-
exploit the
They have
society.
run out of ideas. That is why.
all right. On that note, I'd request all of you to continue to be with us. We have
No,
to take
that
a
is
very
why they've run
small
out of
break.
all ideas.
I request
That is
all of
why
you
they
to
keep
hold on to your
repeating
thoughts
that.
there. Very short break, and
you so
this
much.
very heated discussion will continue in the next few minutes. Today we are discussing the very sensational video that has come in from the state of Tamil Nadu, where IPS officers have spoken about the brazen attitudes that are being fostered by films in the state, where they say the culture of violence and the attitude towards women has to drastically change. Ranjana Kumari is joining us at this point of time, as is Varija Bajaj, but I'd like to quickly get in a word from Mr. Uday, Sahay, former IPS officer. Mr. Sahay, how do you look at this attitude? We have seen very clearly 3 IPS officers come out. They've come on record, no less, put out these videos. Obviously, there is a huge problem that they are trying to address over here. It's not every day that you see this kind of an action being taken, not by 1, not by 2, but by 3 officers who are all highlighting the very same issue, the depiction of women in films.
It's very interesting that 3 IPS officers, lady IPS officers, have taken up the cudgel and come in a public domain stating this obvious. Across the world, I feel that equality of opportunity and equal, kind of treatment before the law has come to stay, and somehow it has not gone down still in the minds of filmmakers across. Then you have variations. Obviously, you have regional cinema, you have Bollywood, but by and large, Pink kind of a movie still is an aberration, not the rule.
Absolutely.
And it's the high time that through such voices and people in authority, especially half Abadi representing half the population, are voicing their concern, and that too coming out boldly in public.
Well, sir, you've served in the IPS. How far do you think that films, play a role in terms of, tempering people's minds, particularly when it comes to attitudes such as, incidents such as, for instance, stalking? We've seen such incidents actually happen where people have even been murdered. There have been honor killings, there have been acid attacks. How far do films play a role in terms of shaping this opinion as far as society is concerned?
I think it reinforces stereotypes against women, and somehow the impressionistic minds who go to watch a movie, they get more influenced. Those who understand the dynamics of filmmaking and that's its entertainment and people don't go and see the reality, not as much, but people who are impressionistic in observing things around in a particular age more so, they do get influenced, and there are instances where they say that they have taken this clue from such and such movie.
Right. Varija, would you still say that ultimately it is films that depict reality, or would you now say, after having listened to these various arguments, that at some level even filmmakers need to take responsibility for what they are producing?
There was a time where you were saying that films are nothing but like literature, mirroring the reality. They are also constituting a reality, and somehow we must acknowledge the fact that the guys who are making this out
Right.
also need to get sensitized, and
Right.
just can't get away by saying that, look, we are just portraying what it is.
All right. Varija, what about you? What do you think? Do you think that after this discussion, you've changed your views a bit?
Not really, because I feel that films are just one aspect of course we are talking about films over here, they're just one aspect of the total, mess that has been created around. It has got a lot to do with gender equality, sensitization. It has got to do with a lot of counseling of minds, which we do not get addressed at the right time. It has got to do with upbringing. It has got to do with male chauvinism.
Right.
It has got to do with a lot of education. But
That's a fair point.
But yes, films have a very, very big role to play, which in no way we can ignore. And somewhere I also feel that even the directors or the script writers, they're also part of our society. They also reflect the mind of our society.
Right.
So they are in a much bigger position where they need to be sensitized, and they need to figure out that, it's not just about entertainment, it is not just about business, it is about a bigger role, which is social responsibility and
Let me take that
education
question.
in a very, very subtle way.
Let me take that question to Ranjana Kumari. Ranjana Kumari, are we overhyping the role of cinema over here? Ultimately, there's a lot more. Of course, attitudes in society, across India, it's not just about one state, really need a huge change. We need overhauling from Delhi to right up to the south. The question is this, that when it comes to films and filmmakers, are we expecting a little too much? Is there an entire argument or this entire discussion that has been started by these IPS officers perhaps taking things a bit too far? Ranjana Kumari.
Well, I think, the construction of consciousness of any society has various, I think the, construction of consciousnness of any society has various kinds of inputs in there. A culture, tradition, norms, religion, so many other factors work. But what film does is that really brings it out in the most, visible, in most, audible, in most closer to your reality way, and then it reinforces that in the minds of young people, vulnerable minds which really can, so why should you bring out what is wrong with the society more strongly and throw it back on the society? Instead of doing that, if you start questioning it, if you start really like so many other cinema which does as I said, from Manthan to Pink and to whatever recent some strong cinemas have come, if they are also reflection of society, that means women's consciousness is changing, women's empowerment is acceptable in our society, gender equality, we are trying to achieve that, we are striving towards that, men and women both are working towards it. So that's also a reality of Indian society.
Absolutely.
It's not, and sexism and misogyny has been rejected. We have to collectively reject it. We cannot say that, oh, this is what is happening in society, so cinema is presenting it.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm saying. This is really the minds who write such kind of dialogue. I remember Kadir Khan's films where he used to talk such vulgar things in double meaning, and people will laugh, so many laughing, all those shows where people are entertained. This is no entertainment. This is bringing the consciousness and also sensibility.
It's not
of
funny
Indian
anymore.
society
Absolutely.
much lower than what it is at the moment. In fact, we should all work together,
Right.
art, culture, literature, to bring it up, to rise above what
Right.
is happening.
Ranjana
in society.
Kumari, I need to
Why
take in a
should we
quick
keep
word
going on
from
saying
Lata
that, oh,
Srinivasan, who's
cinema
been
is
waiting
reality?
patiently.
No, it is
Let me
not.
get in a quick word from her. Lata, you're the only one of our panelists who's from Chennai. A quick last word from you. How far do you think this video will, create a debate and actually go ahead in changing attitudes? Obviously, it's not just about stalking, it's about violence, a number of aspects that perhaps our filmmakers need to reflect over. As a film critic who works in Chennai, how far do you think this video and this entire discussion would actually go about in changing attitudes?
See, Madhav, I think this is a very important discussion to have in society today. There is, I think, too much of sexism and misogyny in films, but I don't think it's related just to Tamil Nadu. I think it's to do with Indian films as a whole.
Absolutely.
Right?
We're only
So I
discussing
think
this
there's a
because
bigger
officers are
picture
from there.
here that we need to look at. And, yeah.
Yeah, we agree with that.
Yeah, exactly. And while the officers are from here and they set the ball rolling, I'm really not sure, how many filmmakers are going to take note and make changes, but the new age directors have in fact started to do it. You have actors like, senior Hollywood stars like
Right.
Jyotika, who are talking about misogyny and sexism and saying, filmmakers, please stop, degrading women in films. Give them better roles. Make them look more respectable. Treat them with respect. You have Malayalam actor Prithviraj,
Right.
who has also stated that he will no
All
longer
right.
act in films.
Lata, I'm afraid I'm
where
completely out of time over here. Thank you so much for joining us
So there
on this
are a lot-
discussion. As well as I'd like to thank Ranjana, Kumari, Mr. Sahay, as of course Varija for joining us here in the studio. Clearly, of course, misogyny is not funny. Is it time for our comics to change the script? Thanks so much for joining me on Insight this evening.